Now, before I get started, I must say something really bugged me throughout this damn film, and that's Gary. Gary, who the hell are you? Literally, every time I saw him, I just kept thinking, I know your face. Who are you? Well, quick IMDb search later, and the actor's identity is revealed as Jesse Plemons. One check of filmography later, and as well as being some recent films that I have seen, it finally hit me. Fucking Todd. Anyway, here's my review of Game Night. Game Night is co-directed by John Francis Daley and Jonathan Goldstein, who are both mostly known for writing Spider-Man Homecoming, but did also co-direct Vacation. It stars Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams as this game-obsessed couple who have a weekly game night session with a few friends. However, a spanner in the works is thrown when Bateman's better-looking and more successful brother, played by Kyle Chandler, arrives on the scene and immediately starts undermining his brother during the latest game night. See, Max and Annie, the characters played by Bateman and McAdams, are trying for a baby, and Max's sperm fertility is lacking due to inferiority complex caused by his envy into his brother's success. Naturally, there is some tension, and that is furthered by Chandler's character Brooks, who invites them all to his place the next week for the game night. Oh, and also Gary is this awkward, creepy cop that used to be married to one of their friends and really likes game night. Anyway, at Brooks's game night, he announces that he has hired a kidnapping firm to stage a kidnapping that seems hyper-realistic, and whoever finds the victim first wins his car, which is the same car that Max has always wanted. Now, everything is going well when two burglars break in and kidnap Brooks, and from that point on, shenanigans ensue. Now, the first thing any comedy should aim to do is make people laugh, and there was no shortage of laughs in the theatre I was in. Every character in this was a wacky archetype, and each and every one of them bounced off each other ridiculously well. This film also went with a mix of humour rather than sticking with one source. They blended meta, gross out, dark and subtle humour, and there are a lot more hits than there are misses. The best comedy has to come from some of the straight up ironic directions which the plot takes that the characters do acknowledge every time, which can be annoying in certain circumstances, but in this one, they hit it on a perfect level. One of my favourite creative choices is that the wide panoramic establishing long shots make it appear as if the locations are Monopoly houses. I, for the life of me, cannot figure out how this was done, but big shout out to Barry Peterson for the creative choice because it worked remarkably. If I had to give some negatives to this, I would say that it is quite predictable, some of the plot points. You know it's predictable when that one asshole 3 rows behind you decides to shout out the punchline about 10 seconds before it's revealed. Whilst the setup to most of the jokes are great, the punchlines can fall a little flat. It also gets a little silly towards the end, but with how this is directed and how the actors played it, the silliness works. It is one of those films that can have a high value for a second viewing, but is very little replay value once you've done that second viewing. I feel like once you've seen it a couple of times, that's it, you'll never get a laugh out of it again. The characters, whilst great, just don't have too much to them in terms of development outside of running gags throughout the film, and some subplots just have a very lackluster finish. MVP wise, it can only be McAdams. I mean, she is simply terrific in this film. One word, yoga. That scene had me in pieces, and delivery was on point every time. I just love seeing her on screen. She worked very well with Bateman, but she managed to pull off some seriousness as well, and it helps you can tell she's just having so much fun with this role, and that's always good to see in one of these comedies. Overall, despite some predictable elements and poor character development, this is a damn good comedy. It's clever and inventive with the humour, which is more than can be said for some of the comedies of the last few years. It didn't get boring, it kept up the pace and mixed up the humour, and I bought all the relationships between the characters, which was effectively the spine of this story outside of the gags and jokes. Game Night is a lot of fun and a good cup of tea. So anyway, Game Night, what did everybody think? Let me know down in the comments below. Hit that round subscribe button for more reviews coming all the time. This is that theshpodcast signing off.